time. Hi! Welcome to DailySpace. I am your host, Annie Wilson, filling in for Dr. Pamela Gay, who is ill. So today I have it easy because SpaceX launches in about 17 minutes. Oh, I realized I don't have doggy cam up. That's okay. We can do without doggy cam today, even though I have everything set up for doggy cam. So, we're just waiting for their live broadcast to kick in. I have turned down their audio all the way because even though the music is nice, I'm afraid that Twitch will mute us and be like, nope, no audio for you. Hey, Tanner. Okay. So, this launch was supposed to happen yesterday, but there was moldy mouse food. Moldy mouse food, which I'm like... But we don't want the mice to get sick, especially when it's, you know, kind of difficult to get stuff up there. And then once you have moldy mouse food, that just makes the mice sick and ruins the experiment and all that other things. So, yeah. So things, got delayed, and that's okay. So, here we go. I'm not too sure if they're going to try to reclaim any of the bits. We're going to find out together. I do know that this is a resupply mission. This is literally, ISS Express. I do know that there are 2 CubeSats on board, one of which was made or designed, I'm not sure, possibly both, by undergraduates at the University of Southern Indiana. I think it's Southern Indiana. It might be Southern Illinois. I'm betting it's Southern Indiana. That one is called Unite. Oh, things are happening. But probably still music-y things. And then the other one was also made by students, but it's not clear if they're undergraduate or graduate students from 2 other American universities. So, yes, hello, Larry Weird and Proud. Hello, Trekker Kev. Hello, Guido. Scroll back up the list. Hello, K-Moore. Hi, Bad Panda Bear. Hello. Oh, things are probably happening.
Standard time on Wednesday, December 5th, and you're looking at a live shot of Space Launch Complex 40, where the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket is about to launch our Dragon spacecraft to the International Space Station. Liftoff is targeted for 1:16 p.m. Eastern Time, or 18 hours, 16 minutes, 16 seconds Universal Time. I'm John Isbrucker, and I'm the Falcon Principal Integration Engineer at SpaceX, and I'm thrilled to be here with you to cover our 16th cargo resupply mission for NASA. Now we're just inside T-minus 14 minutes and counting, and all systems are currently go at our launch site at Cape Canaveral and here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California.
Here at SpaceX headquarters, my name is Tom Perderio, and I'm a firmware engineer here at SpaceX. And joining us today is NASA Public Affairs Officer Stephanie Martin. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, it's great to be here in Hawthorne and to be a part of the webcast for the 16th SpaceX Cargo Resupply Services mission to the International Space Station. Our partnerships with SpaceX and other American companies are vital as NASA prepares to send astronauts on deep space exploration missions. Today, we have a lot, literally tons, of exciting science loaded into the Dragon at the launch pad. SpaceX will deliver almost 6,000 pounds of cargo to the space station, including materials to support dozens of the science and research investigations, but we'll be going into that a little bit later in today's webcast. As I was telling Tom earlier, the International Space Station has been orbiting the Earth for about 20 years now. And of those 18 years, we've had astronauts conducting research on the International Space Station. That means today's high school students have never...
Are they really delivering the Christmas pizza? I mean, that makes sense and is kind of awesome.
When I was in high school, they had barely finished the very first crew expedition, and the truss wasn't even built. So to think we had human presence in space for that long is awesome. This will actually be SpaceX's 20th launch of 2018, and we'll be launching a flight-proven Dragon spacecraft today, which visited the International Space Station once before in CRS-10 mission back of March of 2017.
Hey, Susie!
Both Falcon 9 and Dragon were designed with reflight in mind, so the vehicle hardware is built to support multiple missions with minimal refurbishment in between. And while this Dragon has flown once before, the booster we're flying today is actually brand new. And after stage separation today, we'll be bringing that first stage back to land at Landing Zone 1 in Cape Canaveral so that we can fly it again for future missions. Today's launch window is instantaneous, which means that we only have 1 second to launch this Dragon. That means that if we scrub today's launch or have to abort for any reason, we'll have to move to our backup launch date, which is December 7th at 12:28 p.m. Eastern Time.
It's T-minus 11 minutes and 30 seconds and counting. And as I like to say on the webcast, the good news is the SpaceX team is working no significant issues. Falcon 9 conducted the go-no-go poll at T-minus 38 minutes, and propellant loading began shortly thereafter at T-minus 30.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched a land landing before. That sounds weird to say. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't find moldy mouse food again. That just... silly but important.
Going on right now is liquid oxygen. That's underway on both the first and second stages. We're about 75% full on first stage and only about 15% full on second stage. We just started loading a few minutes ago. We'll finish loading liquid.
The gas that you see off, or, off jetting is probably from that liquid oxygen. And I think if, like the other launches, they continuously fill until it's just about time to go. Tanner says, landman's land, landing land. And Larry Weird and Proud says, the Falcon Heavy had a double landing. Oh my goodness, guys. I love you so much.
Nice timing between Dragon and the Falcon 9, and now they're undergoing last checks to make sure the systems are all healthy. The next big step for Dragon is transfer to internal power at T-minus 8 minutes. We come off of ground power and we use the batteries on board Dragon. The range is ready to support. The Air Force tells us the airspace and the sea surface is clear for launch.
The look is for Tanner. In before Bob, blah, blah.
Upper altitude winds look good. We've been using balloons to check out those winds. The only thing we're watching right now is ground level winds. We're up around 20 miles an hour, but we've still got some margin before we hit a ground limit. So crossing our fingers that the winds continue to be good for the last 10 minutes. Finally, on a historical note, this week will mark the 8th anniversary since we flew the first Dragon for NASA, our COT-C1 mission back in December 2010, which was a precursor to today's resupply missions. All told, it's been an amazing journey for SpaceX, and so at T-minus 9 minutes 20 seconds and counting, all systems are go.
I still remember when they weren't flying like mission critical resupply missions, and now they're actually flying science up there, which is pretty cool.
Space Station, and it's been an exciting journey to get to where we are today. In 2010, SpaceX became the first private company to send a spacecraft to orbit and then return it to the Earth. And then 2 years later, in 2012, Dragon became the first privately developed spacecraft to visit the space station. Since then, SpaceX has made a total of 16 trips to the station. 15 of those as official.
Believe it or not, I've had coffee this morning.
Total of 26 cargo resupply missions. We're currently just flying cargo missions, but very soon we'll be flying humans to space as part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, with our first uncrewed demonstration mission, Demo 1, targeted for January of next year.
Today, Dragon will be
No. Why? What's happening? No.
carrying dozens of research payloads to the space station, including research in the National Laboratory operated by the Center for the Advancement of Science in Space, otherwise known as CASIS. There are more than 20 payloads included on this mission, sponsored by the National Lab. In fact, this mission represents the largest number of payloads ever delivered to the National Lab during a single launch to the space station. The National Lab payloads represent a diverse group of research investigations, all of which are intended to benefit life.
So now I can make fun of Big J because he can't hear me, which is hilarious.
SpaceX's 16th resupply mission to the International Space Station is primed and packed with an incredible amount of research that has the capacity to benefit life on Earth. More than 20 payloads are sponsored by the U.S. National Laboratory on the International Space Station. Let's get an idea about some of those payloads that are associated with this mission. Budweiser will send its third experiment to station with implementation partner Space Tango. This payload will examine the steeping, germination.
I'm watching with no sound, he says.
Results from this research could help the company develop new malt barley varieties that are more tolerant
So, I think barley is also considered a model organism for
to
science.
inefficiencies in products and cause costly damage. In an experiment to study corrosion-causing microbial biofilms on Earth and on station, Nowco Champion will monitor the rate of microbial corrosion as a function of cell density and activity. Results could shed light on new methods to effectively mitigate against microbial corrosion both on Earth and on station. Startup company Lamb Division seeks to enhance the manufacturing process.
It is not bud. It is barley. Barley is not cannabis. They're not, remember, US astronauts are not allowed to have alcohol on the space station.
Of the multi-layer system. Earlier this year, the ISS National Lab partnered with Marvel Entertainment for the
What?
Galaxy Space Station Challenge. Hundreds of students submitted flight concepts based on the physical characteristics of Rocket and Groot from the Guardians of the Galaxy. And 2 projects were selected that will launch on this mission. One student experiment is looking at aeroponic farming, and the other at a dental glue that is activated by UV light. Sepsis, or systemic inflammation, is usually caused by exposure of an open wound to contaminated sources and is a costly healthcare burden. Timpanogen seeks to leverage microgravity to improve the process of antibiotic release from a novel patch they have developed to treat wounds and reduce the occurrence and severity of sepsis. This launch represents a diverse mixture of science that
Okay, some of these things are wild. Also, thanks Jay for gifting a subscription to Tanner. Woo! Yeah. Yes, you can make beer from barley. And I don't know if that's true, Larry. Larry says that US astronauts trade Huggy Wipes to Russians for vodka. I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen, but nobody's going to admit that that happens.
Continuing the countdown for launch in our 1-second window.
So, while they're talking about that, there are all sorts of ingenious way alcohol was smuggled into Kuwait when I was there, because we weren't allowed to have alcohol when I was there. Kuwait is a dry country.
Valves that previously were closed were opened. That allowed fuel and liquid oxygen to flow out of the propellant tanks down to the turbo pumps. That cold liquid oxygen chilled in the turbo pump on each of the 9 Merlin first stage engines. We might hear an announcement in the countdown a little later on that the engines are sufficiently chilled in for launch. Currently, the transport erector strongback is getting ready to move away from the first stage and second stage. It'll move back a couple of degrees and then hold there until launch. We're also in the middle right now of checking out the upper stage thrust vector control actuators. This is known as engine wiggle. We're physically moving the thrust chamber very slightly. That makes sure the guidance hardware is go for flight. The first stage engines will have a similar wiggle, but that's done just seconds before we ignite them. Now at T-1 minute, the flight computers will enter startup mode on the Falcon 9. That will guide the rocket through the rest of the countdown. You'll hear the launch director from SpaceX give a go for launch at T-45 seconds. And then finally, a couple seconds before liftoff, the engines will be ignited. And at T0, the rocket will be released from the hold-down clamps. And at that point, the strongback will then recline the remainder of the way from the rocket, clearing it for liftoff and flight into orbit. On the Dragon side, the team has transferred to internal power. They've performed their final checks. Just watching right now, making sure everything is go for launch and the flight that will take us about 3 days to rendezvous with the space station.
3 days?
The Air Force range continues to be go, and the weather continues to look good. So right now, everything looks
Doesn't it take our
good
human...
for an on-time launch,
turn this down
just
so you guys
under
can hear me
T-minus
better.
3 minutes.
Doesn't it take our humans, like, less than a day to get there? So... 3 days to get there. Wow. I know, Buck! Playing catch-up. Okay. I wonder if it would have been faster if they had chosen a different launch window. See, and now they're not talking. Aw. Mice have a harder time reaching the controls. Aww. Trekker Kev says, newer, faster orbital rendezvous for people. No human... Larry Weird and Proud says, no human, no hurry. Delta V is expensive. Yeah. I mean, if you're not really worried about creature comfort for 3 days. And yeah, there is some... I guess there would be some worry about the robots approaching quickly. Oh, you're just gonna lay on my lap? Okay. You don't want to be the star of the show? So I'm going to take this opportunity to do our fundraising spiel, which I know most of you have heard before. Please make the thing at the bottom move just a tad bit. Every little bit helps. Hey! Thanks for the cheer. So, hey Puck, can you sit up? Come on, sit up. I can't shower. Come on. He's like, do I have to? Anyways, you can't see it, but I'm giving Puck Cheerios. I'm sure you can hear it. And now Tinker hears the Cheerios being nommed on. Nightbot does not have a link for Tiltify yet. We can fix that. Either Paranor will fix that or I will fix that later. Tiltify works kind of like Extra Life. It allows you to help raise funds on behalf of somebody else. Oh, we're go for launch. I turned down comms traffic so much. Sorry about that. All right. I can't shower them, so I'm just hand feeding the Cheerios to the dog. And for any of you that will be in and around DC next week, next Thursday specifically, we have
startup pressures.
We have details about a meetup.
And Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
9, 8, 7,
It's happening,
6,
Buck.
5,
It's happening.
4,
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Nothing's exploded! Go, 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 go! Yeah? Is that your launch hype, Tink? Okay. Okay, it launched. Have some Cheerios. Look at it go, Puck. Here, come on, sit up so you can see. See? Look, this monitor right here.
35 seconds into flight, we've had a great liftoff from Space Launch Complex 40. Falcon 9 powered under the thrust of 1.7 million pounds.
Like, why are you
We're
holding
coming
me
up
like
on
this?
throttle bucket, preparing for maximum dynamic pressure.
Look at it, Buck. No, look at it. Yeah.
Propulsion reports that we are on target, throttle down, getting ready to pass through max Q.
Vehicle is supersonic and experiencing maximum dynamic pressure.
It's going so fast, buddy. It's going so fast.
We're passing through the range where aerodynamic loads are greatest on Dragon Falcon 9. The Merlin engines are now throttling back up.
Look at it go!
Propulsion reports the first stage systems are nominal.
Yay!
Great
That's
views
one of our
from the
favorite
cameras here.
words.
The blue
Nominal.
skies, a nice daylight launch, showing Falcon 9 with Dragon headed downrange.
Ugh.
The
MVAC engine
call
chill.
out for MVAC engine chill. That means we are now chilling in the
Tanner,
LOX
I love
turbo
watching
pump
the
on the
progress
upper
bar.
stage engine, getting ready for its ignition
Advancing.
about 2.5 minutes into
That is
flight.
one of my favorite features about their broadcast.
Great view looking back from the first stage
Look
camera.
at all those cameras, Puck!
Cape Canaveral in the background as we head northeast
Look at all
towards
those
the
cameras.
International Space Station orbit. Next major activities coming up
That's
in
not
about
supposed to be on the camera.
25 seconds. We'll have shutdown of the 9 first stage engines. We'll get stage separation and ignition of the second stage
Look
to
at all those
propel
cameras,
Falcon 9 and Dragon
He's
into
like,
Earth orbit.
I don't
We
care.
also hope to see on the left side the first
The lights
stage
in the
flip
green screen
around
don't
and
do you
light
any
3
favors, huh?
engines
Okay.
to begin the path of coming back to
Is that
landing zone
inside
1
the
at Cape
fairing?
Canaveral.
Or is that inside the separate? That's got to be inside the separation.
Eco.
Whoa! Yeah, that was totally part of the separation thing. Here it goes. Wow. Whoa! Look at
Successful
the Earth
stage
through that.
separation, ignition of the
And
upper stage engine.
The nice
We've
pretty
also seen the first stage has
lighting
done its
up
flip
thingies.
maneuver, and the boost back burn has begun.
That's the
We have
first
lit
stage
3 engines on
separation
the first
internal view.
stage.
Thanks.
That's reducing the forward velocity and will be bringing it back towards Cape Canaveral.
Should probably talk or turn this out so it's easier for me to
Shutdown
talk over
of
it,
the
huh?
boost back burn is coming up in about 10 seconds. Second stage continues to look good on power. On the right-hand side, you may have seen an object passing the nozzle of the upper stage engine. That's the Dragon nose cap that's generated at this point in flight.
Okay.
We've heard the call-out shutdown on the boost back burn. First stage has completed the first of 3 planned burns that will result in return to landing zone 1 on Cape Canaveral, just a few miles from where the first stage just lifted off. You can see the grid fins slowly opening. The large titanium fins, we allow them to open slowly.
Stage 2 is on.
Given the mass of the fins, we don't want them to open too rapidly.
Oh, that would be terrifying.
Second stage
Open up
continues
rapidly
to
and
look
just
good.
fly
First
right
stage
off.
Good. T plus 4 minutes into flight, all systems are go.
As you just heard from John, we had a beautiful clear liftoff of the Falcon 9 from Cape Canaveral, and right now there's 2 things happening simultaneously. On the left-hand side of your screen, you can see a camera that's on the top of that Falcon 9 first stage, currently pointed down the length of the first stage. You can see the titanium grid fins, and that will be executing its re-entry burn at about T plus 6 minutes and 30 seconds. And then on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see the engine nozzle of that Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage. That is currently accelerating the Dragon spacecraft to match orbit with the International Space Station for its eventual berthing maneuvers.
It's an interesting semantic point that the process of connecting the Dragon to the space station is called berthing with an E. And that's because it is brought to the space station by the Canadarm2, while docking actually refers specifically to 2 spacecraft that can connect without any external assistance. This stems from old shipping days in which ships would come into the harbor and dock themselves under their own power, while larger ships, which aren't able to easily navigate in harbors, are met by tugboats and then berthed. So for the space station, the robotic Canadarm2 is like a tugboat for the Dragon spacecraft.
Go, go,
That Dragon
tugboat!
spacecraft will make its way to orbit after it separates from the top of the second stage, coming up later in the mission. But right now we are focused on both that second stage still accelerating and the first stage coming back down for a landing. Next step up for the first stage is going to be a re-entry burn. That's when it's going to light 3 of its Merlin engines to slow itself down as it hits the denser regions of the atmosphere. You can actually see on the left-hand side of your screen, that is Cape Canaveral.
Paranor says, it's not a tugboat, it's a delicate touch from Mama. Aww, isn't that sweet?
Decelerate.
So, hey, the first stage is getting closer and closer. You can actually see some coastline there.
In addition to those re-entry burns, you actually saw some what looked like frozen condensation floating off the side of the first stage. In addition to those burns, the first stage also uses those titanium grid fins to control itself, and cold gas thrusters, which are those bursts of air you can see periodically issuing from that first stage. Let's watch the re-entry burn happen in about 5 seconds.
She totally is squeeing into her chair. Come on, you know that. Oh, and they have the
Stage
ground
1 entry burn
cam.
startup.
Whoa, whoa, that's wild. Look at Puck. Puck's like, no, I want to look at you.
You can see
I wanna
all
lick at you."
3, or all 3 of the 9 of those Merlin engines light up right now, executing that re-entry burn and slowing that first stage down.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And we just heard the call out for an entry burn shutdown. Landing burn will begin. That's the next phase of landing at T plus 7 minutes and 35 seconds. We currently have an unbelievable view of Cape Canaveral from the bird's eye view.
It is absolutely amazing. I've been at Cape Canaveral for these landings before where you can feel those sonic booms in your chest. It is just so exciting along the Space Coast.
Whoa, look it, Puck. That is enough to make anyone sick. Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Stage 1 transonic.
And then they cut the feed? Oh no. No, that is not good at all.
Stage 1 landing burn started.
What is happening?
Nominal trajectory.
Right now, stage 2 is currently on a nominal trajectory.
No,
This
something's
is the
not
primary
right.
mission to get that Dragon spacecraft into orbit.
Yeah, all the mumbling in the background was kind of terrifying. All right, you want to know what, Puck? You need to face the camera, and you know.
Right now, you can see that second stage engine is
Stage 2 is
performing
under
nominally with the Merlin vacuum engine glowing red hot.
Hey, there's a lot of clapping, so there's a lot of cheering, so maybe that's good.
Right now, we're filling out to a site rep and we can continue to building.
I don't know. I don't.
You may have heard the SpaceX team cheering in the background. It appears that the stage 1 of the Falcon 9 has made a water landing off the coast of Cape Canaveral.
Okay.
Still waiting on exact word for what happened there. Just a quick reminder, the primary mission today is to bring the Dragon to the International Space Station. Right now, that mission is going spectacularly. All telemetry from stage 2 looks nominal, and it looks like we are approaching a good orbit. Waiting for confirmation on that soon.
Now, the Dragon spacecraft is set to arrive at the International Space Station in just a few days, where our astronauts will be conducting that groundbreaking research that it is carrying up.
And right now, we did have confirmation of a good orbit from that second stage with the Dragon. Right now,
Thanks for the bits, Ed. I can't throw Cheerios at the dog, so I will hand feed them, and you can listen to him crunch,
that's
crunch,
a view
crunch.
inside the trunk,
Want
the
some Cheerios?
unpressurized cargo section of the Dragon. And I believe you can actually see some of the science experiments that are in the trunk right there.
It's an exciting capability for the Dragon trunk to be able to store unpressurized cargo and take that up to the International Space Station. It's a very unique capability.
And there it is. You can see the successful separation
right!
of that
Yeah!
Dragon spacecraft from the top of the second stage. The trunk is open to the bottom. It's an unpressurized spacecraft, and I believe those are the two science experiments we're currently going to be mounted on the outside of the International Space Station. But yeah, so the next Dragon still has a long way to go. The next phase of its mission is going to be extending the solar arrays. So you can actually see on your screen there's two kind of bumps on the side of that trunk. Those are the folded up solar arrays, and in I believe at 12 minutes and 30 seconds, those solar arrays are going to extend and unfurl so that the Dragon can start harvesting solar power and make its way the rest of the way to the International Space Station.
Now, as you mentioned earlier, we've got some cargo inside the trunk of that spacecraft, which you could see as it was pulling away. We have two different experiments. The first one is the JEDI spacecraft, and that's JEDI with a G. It stands for the Global Ecosystem Dynamics Investigation. The JEDI spacecraft...
I'm going to turn this down and read. So, apparently Elon tweeted out that the Falcon fairing halves missed the net but touched down softly in the water. Mr. Steven, the boat, is picking them up. Plan is to dry them out and launch again. Nothing wrong with a little swim. So, yeah. Starstrider, Dr. Pamela, says it reminded me of when in a video game I overcompensate and start spinning and spinning the other way. Oh, yeah. Guido adds, always remember, landing is optional. Launching the Dragon safely is not. And that's why they kept emphasizing that the primary mission was getting Dragon up to the ISS and not so much recovery of the first stage.
Like I was saying, currently waiting for the Dragon solar array deploy, coming up in about 30 seconds, 30 or 45 seconds.
I know.
Those solar
I know,
panels
it turned out
are
okay.
covered
Yes,
by
it
shrouds
did.
on the side.
It turned out
Carbon
okay.
fiber shrouds. And so
Yeah.
we might be able to get some video, hopefully, of those shrouds popping off and those solar arrays extending.
Trucker Kev made the comment that's an old tweet from a couple days, but still relevant. Oh, yeah, Susie. Going solo in Astroneer for your first time is so tricky. Oh my goodness.
Towards the ISS's orbit.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're... Hey, there's cheering.
And as you can see right there, that is a confirmation of Dragon's solar panels deploying from the side of that truck.
Yes.
This is excellent news. It means that Dragon is now able to power itself
solar
all the way the
panels
rest of the way
deployed.
to the
Yes.
space station.
Oh.
Dragon is now on its way
You
to
want
the
some more
space station.
Cheerios for
When
that,
Dragon
don't you?
arrives in just a couple of days, the spacecraft and the space station will establish a direct communications link, and then Dragon will slowly approach, pausing at several checkpoints to ensure that everything is still going as expected. Eventually, as Dragon approaches closer and closer, the European Space Agency astronaut Alexander Gerst will reach out and capture the Dragon. Next, ground commands will be sent to Mission Control, or from Mission Control in Houston, for the space station's robotic arm to reach out, rotate, and install it on the bottom of the space station's Harmony module.
Well, 13 and a half minutes since liftoff when that entire rocket was at Cape Canaveral. We had some great views. The weather cooperated today. The ground winds weren't too high. We were able
Hey, Fenring, so you missed a bit of drama where the first stage potentially landed in the water? We're not entirely too sure. But primary mission of getting Dragon docked with, the ISS seems to be going well, and I am happy to report that there was no moldy mouse food this time. So yeah, you'll have to go back and rewatch it on YouTube or rewatch it later on Twitch. Yeah, there was a lot of jeers and cheerings and jeers, and they cut the video. You saw everything spinning, and then they just cut the video. So.
Saturday, December 8th on NASA TV and on SpaceX.com/webcast. Dragon will spend about 5 weeks attached to the space station before returning to Earth with cargo and research.
Please follow NASA and SpaceX on our social media pages for ongoing updates. I personally will be covering that early morning grapple and capture, so please tune in for that on Saturday morning. And please, thank you to NASA, the range, the FAA, and you, the viewer, for tuning in. We greatly appreciate your support for these launches. Until next time.
All right, so I'm going to cut the music. And we're going to flip over to chat as soon as I can find it. There we go. Transition. Woo! Okay, so yeah, I am not covering that early morning Saturday grapple capture for a variety of reasons. One of which is that it's Saturday morning. Because reasons. I'm going to put Fluffy down. Gently. There you go, buddy. What's... Paranor is saying that Susie will stream it. Sure, okay. Okay, so hopefully the first stage is okay. They really didn't give us any news about that. And yeah, that's a little worrying, but primary mission seems all right. So if anybody has questions, now's the time to ask them. Please at me. Otherwise, I'm going to go on the spiel. Woo! So thank you for all of your bits, all of your donations. If you can help us out with the Hangout-a-thon, that would be great. You can help out by spreading the word, asking your employer to match a donation, donating, volunteering to fill up some time, because we're going to be streaming for 40 hours. Unlike Extra Life, I cannot stay up the entire time. We are on Tiltify now, so you can contribute through there. I don't think Tiltify and bits pull into our little progress bar at the bottom. Sorry, my other screen changed and it was distracting. I don't think that adds into our bit at the bottom, but really every little bit does help. I think at the beginning of the Hangout-a-thon we'll have a much more accurate... Okay, good. I think the Tiltify integration should take care of adding that, but I'm not sure, Pamela. Which is why I was like, let me integrate the thing. Bits are indeed separate, which part of me is like, let's just have a per stream bit goal, and then I realized that might get a little overwhelming. But yeah, by the time we do the Hangout-a-thon, we should have a more accurate view of this is how much money we've raised, because we have multiple streams coming in. I know for the Hangout-a-thon, we do have some giveaways. Susie says, but bits do count for us, they just don't show here, so bring all the bits. Yes, bring all the bits. I don't have doggy cam up right now, but trust me, the dogs love it when you guys donate bits. Love it. Dr. Primula adds, with Tiltify, you can host your own streams to help raise funds. Feel free to spread the word. Yes, 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 please. Please, please, please. Am I forgetting anything important? Because I feel like I'm forgetting important things. But yeah, we're going to be streaming for 40 hours. So yes, help would be definitely appreciated to fill some of those hours. We are going to be playing video games at some point. Probably all space themed, definitely board games. Humble Bundle, I believe, still has a bundle up of board games. Bits! Bits! I'm throwing Cheerios at the dogs. You can't see the dogs eating them, but trust me, they're happy. Bits! Trust me, they're happy. I lost my train of thought. We will be playing... Oh yeah, Humble Bundle totally has a Steam bundle for board games that a lot of us have picked up. So if you pick that up, you can probably play some games with us. Thank you. Thank you, Pamela. I will eventually beat this into my brain. We are produced at the Planetary Science Institute in collaboration with Youngstown State University. We are a non-profit team just trying to put science in your brain. Oh, oh, oh. And yes, as Paranor says, we do play a lot of Uno. Join our Discord. Come join us for games. Come join us for Uno. Uno discussions and pickup games are discussed in the Gamers channel. Oh, I mentioned this before. Meetup next week, Thursday. I'm probably going to get the name of the restaurant wrong, but we have an Eventbrite thing set up. We do know where we're meeting. It's an Italian restaurant. Buca di Beppo? Beppo di Buca? I'm probably screwing that up. And yeah, come hang out with us. Come, you know, eat dinner with us. Everybody will pitch in. Everybody from the team will be there. I know everybody's used to seeing, you know, myself and Dr. Pamela on screen and seeing Susie in chat and sometimes Tanner, who is Herleyu on this, and Big J, who is Big J. Paranor has an update. Paranor says, grid fin hydraulic pump stalled, so Falcon landed just out to sea, appears to be undamaged, and is transmitting data. Recovery ship dispatched. All right. Woof. Okay. So hopefully it will remain undamaged. I'm glad it didn't totally hit people, because that would be bad. Hitting people is bad. Okay. So tomorrow I will have space news for you. Lots of space news, and hopefully tech will play more nicely with me better. And I don't remember if there's any more launches this week. If there's any more launches, stay tuned for whether or not I will stream them. I am totally not streaming early Saturday morning. And with that... Hey, audio muting is tradition around here. It's already... I'm not muted! Right, everybody's just going on. So yes, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for your support. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye!